Good morning, and we are in chapter 37. And if you look up in the right-hand corner, there's exactly the same thing that's been in all of these last few chapters. What is the purpose of the tabernacle? And as I said, as we're going through it, there is the purpose in here, and you also see the items that is mentioned there. Today we're going to talk about the ark, the mercy seat, and the cherubims and things, the making those. So we're going to get into this right away, and I think by the end of this I will know how to say this name a little bit better. Bezalel made the ark of shittim wood, or acacia as we know it. 2 cubits and a half was the length of it, a cubit and a half was the breadth of it, and a cubit and a half was the height of it. I was just looking at a video on YouTube by the Church History Matters guys, I should say, who talk about going and being able to. There was a time when they made that replica and took it from Salt Lake City to St. George, which is quite a distance. It's it would have been interesting to watch, but you can actually walk through with him on there as well. And Casey Griffiths is his name. And he walks through each of the things. So you've got the video and Come Follow Me anyway. And he gets to actually walk through an actual replica of this. And of course, as I've said yesterday, there's so much information in here, how long it was, how tall it was, as long as you know what a cubit is. But even if you don't, you have a pretty good idea what it is. And so there's ways you can envision this, and it's easy to, if you've grown up, you've seen many replicas of this. Let's go on. So now we're here, and we get to see him make the ark. He's made the temple to fit the ark and all of the other things. Let's see what happens. And he overlaid with gold within, without, and made a crown of gold. Crown means the trimming, or the part around something, not just like a crown on the head or a crown on the top, but it's basically what is around it. And you'll see crown on this a few times. And he cast it 4 gold rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon one side and 2 rings upon the other side. And he made staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with gold. And he put the staves of the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. So this whole process is there to bear the ark. And he made this mercy seat of pure gold. 2 cubits and a half was the length thereof, and 1 cubit and a half the breadth thereof. And we'll hear that measurement a few times, because it's the size of the ark, it's the size of the mercy seat, which is basically on the lid of the ark. And he made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of the one piece, made he them on the 2 ends of the mercy seat. And I don't know all the significance, but that sounds very significant, that they were beaten out of one piece. In other words, they started with 1 and they've got 2. It's like the identical in a way. And sometimes as we grow closer to God, we find that we become more like him. And I don't know if that has anything to do with the symbolism other people have thought, but to me, that's what I was thinking of when I heard that was, how can we become more like God and become one with him? One cherubim on this side and the other on the other side. And on that side of the mercy seat, the other end of the mercy seat. One piece with. So it's interesting that they put it that way. They're trying to make it all into one. One thing. And these cherubims are worked together, and they bring it all together. And there is several examples of that. And remember, we don't know exactly what they look like, but they did have wings, and a few other things have been described. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, and their faces one to another, even the mercy seat were the faces of the cherubim. So they faced inward, basically, from where they were instead of outward. And he made a table of shittim wood, and I've marked each thing that goes in the temple. So we've got the ark, and we've got the mercy seat, we've got the table. 2 cubits in length thereof, a cubit, and a cubit breadth thereof, and a cubit and a half height. And he laid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold around about. And he made, remember, the crown is the thing that goes around, so probably a nice trimming around that of gold. And he made thereunto a border of an handbreadth round about, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about. And he cast it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings upon the 4 corners that were in the 4 feet thereof. Over against the border, or next to, were the rings, the places for the staves to bear the table. So it's making sure that everything is mobile. Somebody can carry these. He made the staves of shittim wood and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, his dishes, his spoons, his bowls, everything that they need for whatever they are doing in there. And his covers to cover withal. And it says the jugs for pouring the libations. Of pure gold. And he made the candlestick of pure gold, of beaten work. Made he the candlestick. And if you've gone through and looked at this, and some of us have seen this throughout our lives, the menorah, then you can picture these things. His shaft and his branch, his bowls, his knops, his flowers were of the same. And I kind of put in there the fact that it's the Lord's, not just his, as in the menorah itself. But I think it could have been used both, and there are in the footnotes, or its buds, and the branch they use as its branches, its cups, etc. So it's just saying all this comes together, and they were made of pure gold, and 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of this candlestick out of one side thereof, and 3 branches of the candlestick out the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds in one branch, a knop and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in the other branch, a knop and a flower also throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick. And in the candlestick were 4 bowls made like almonds, his knops and his flowers, and a knop under the 2. Did I say what a knop was? Because there was somewhere where it does mention knops, or its buds. Yeah, I did. So whenever you hear that, you just think of that under the 2 branches, the same according to the 6 branches going out of it. Their knops and their branches were of the same. All of it was beaten work of pure gold. You can imagine all the people handing in what they can to have the temple or the tabernacle built. And he made his 7 lamps and his snuffers and the snuff dishes of pure gold. Of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. And he made the incense altar of shittim wood, and the length of it was a cubit, and the breadth of it was a cubit. It was 80, and 2 cubits was the height of it. The horns thereof were of the same. And he overlaid it with gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof, round about, and the horns of it. And he made unto it a crown of gold round about. And he made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown thereof, by the 2 corners of it, upon the 2 sides thereof, to be places for the staves to bear withal, again, building it so it can be traveled, whereby to carry it. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the holy anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary, or the perfumer, person that does the perfume. So now we've got the tabernacle built with all of its coverings, and most of the stuff inside the temple done. And hopefully what you get from this is the detail that they do. And what is the detail that we take to the temple? Do we go with a heart of gold, you might say, to the temple and become more one with God in all that we do? I hope we can do that, and I see you tomorrow.